Welcome back, everybody, to Parental Composure. I'm here with a special guest today. This is my mom, Lori, and she is a behavior interventionist, and we are going to be talking about lack of social skills and anxiety in children.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Ayers, and I'm here with Miss Elise Zambrano. And we are back with another episode with her fabulous mother, Lori.
Thank you.
How are you?
Very good. Thanks.
So
There's
yeah,
no need to laugh when
I
I
know.
say
I always laugh.
fabulous
You know
mother.
that. I just know my mom. I'm watching her. It's just fun. Yeah. So to this episode, so we've done two others. If you guys are watching this, make sure and check those out. We did those on accepting adult correction, noncompliance, and oppositional defiant disorder, ODD. Now today we're going to be talking about lack of social skills and anxiety in kids. And so yeah, Mom, if you want to start that off, go
Sure.
right ahead.
Sure. So, obviously, as we talked about previously, I work with kids on the spectrum. So, you're going to expect with kids on the spectrum to be lacking in social skills. That's common for them. But there are children who are not on the spectrum who also have challenges with their social skills. We're talking about bullying, targeting, intimidating. Some kids are passive, um, non engaged, have a hard time initiating friendships or even being able to initiate interactions with peers while they're at school. So there are lots of different challenges that happen in the school setting that involve social skills. And I remember when I was getting my early childhood education degree, they focused on social skills so much because a lot of that does have to be learned at an early age. Because by the time you get into elementary school, you kind of have to know how to do that. You have to know how to come up to a friend and say, hey, you want to play with me? Or you have to know how to resolve a conflict in a positive, appropriate way. Unfortunately, a lot of kids, due to barriers or never being taught those skills, or other challenges that might be going on in their life, trauma, anxiety, they don't know how to engage with other children properly. And it causes a lot of conflicts in the school day. um, and we hear all about bullying all the time, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But what we don't hear about is empowering the passive child or the passive student. We don't always hear about how to resolve conflicts and conflict resolution process with children, which are so important. So those social skills are crucial. They're just as important as the academic skills, in my opinion, because a child who has good social skills really knows how to weather all of those challenges that we mentioned in the school setting, and they'll continue on even into
Mm-hmm.
adulthood. I mean, how many of us know bullies still,
I know.
adult bullies and intimidators and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
So those skills, what we do with our students at school who we identify have those needs and challenges. We use lots of different methods to help them. We do social skill training on specific social skills, like how to go up to somebody and look in their eyes and say hi. I mean, as simple and as basic as that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it seems so rudimental, but it really is the basic stepping stones to understanding social skills that some children just do not have.
So, have you
Um,
worked with children that have hearing loss at all?
yes, actually, and who are blind. So
Okay.
I've actually had students with medical issues who
Mm-hmm.
can't engage at all. I mean, all sorts. And
So,
usually when,
oh,
oh, go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was just going to say,
Mhm.
in those situations, is there something that you can do as a parent or a behavior interventionist to advocate for the kids to include them in play with other kids? So, like preventing seclusion. Like, what would you do in a situation with a kid that might have hearing loss that is feeling not feeling necessarily left out, but
Yeah.
just wanting to be included and wanting to be more social?
Right. Well, oftentimes that is so. If you look at a child who has a barrier such as that, oftentimes there's a whole team of individuals that's helping that student. There's going to be the visual therapist or the specialist who's going to, sorry, the auditory specialist. There's going to be the special ed teacher who's making accommodations in the classroom. There's going to be, there could be a behavior plan where it doesn't mean the child has negative behaviors, but it's a behavior plan to be able to assist them to be able to engage in normal school day activities. Oftentimes, one of the things I love about children, especially the K through 5, they are so compassionate. And if you use peers, and if they're trained by a behavior specialist, or a knowledgeable teacher, how to interact with that student, and then go out there and assist them, they're amazing. And I know Bronson and Capri are, Elise's kids are great at that because they've told me about that before. So their peers are one of the most amazing way for a child to feel part of of and included, that
Mm-hmm.
inclusion factor. But that also is, to me, a real trickle down.
Mm-hmm.
The adults have to feel that as well, so the
Yeah.
children are learning and seeing that behavior modeled for them. So the staff, the kids, all have to be in an inclusive uh, mind frame,
Mm-hmm.
and then make that happen. But within a child's IEP, that's an individual's education plan that can actually be incorporated in that plan, is how to um, accomplish social skills for a child that has barriers like vision or hearing or any other medical barriers.
So, and when a child does have hearing loss, is there something that you would do to help them not get angry if people can't necessarily understand what they're trying to say? How would you?
Well, I actually work with the student. Part of that is developmental too. A young child is going to get angry, oftentimes they're frustrated because they don't know all their resources to be able to express themselves
Mm-hmm.
or work through a situation. But as they work with therapists and staff members and children who start understanding them, first of all, because again, like we talked about before, relationship building is important. I have a student who is hearing impaired. He's trying to speak. Um, I apologize to him all the time and I just say, please be patient with me. Don't get mad. I'm trying to learn just like you are. And usually kids will respond to that as they get older and they start to understand you're giving it your best effort. Or they'll do that with their peers as well, as long as the peers are receptive to that.
That makes
Um,
sense.
I think just the inclusion and getting to know each other, accepting each other's faults and mistakes, um, and knowing that that's okay because you're learning to work together, is part that's just normal, and it becomes normal for everybody.
Yeah. So it sounds
I
like
don't
it's
know if
just a
that answers that.
process. Yeah, no, it does. Because I mean,
Yes.
I think a lot of times it's just the process of going through it and building those connections. And like you said, finding the resources that helps the
Yes.
child.
And as a parent, you're advocating for that. Are, parents are their children's greatest advocates. So you can, if you don't see that happening in a classroom, you can say, hey, you know what? I've heard that this could be really beneficial, and Johnny really wants to get to know peers and be their friends and play with them. What can we do to work together to make that happen? I think parents have so much power in making positive changes for their children. Also, inclusiveness is important for the other children to learn about, also. Our world needs more inclusiveness and more inclusive training for young children. When they are taught that a person might have a barrier and they can help that person, they're usually amazing. I see it every day at school, and oftentimes it brings me to tears. I feel like I'm going to cry right now, because the children are the ones that lead the way in making other children at school feel positive if they've been taught to be inclusive as well.
And that's a lot of the
So
times, like you
sorry.
said, it's stop it. You're going to make me cry. A lot of the times that stems from parents teaching their children. I mean, that's a huge thing to teach a child as you're raising
Yes.
them and parenting. And so for all our parents out there, whether you have a child that needs to be included, or whether I mean, every child needs to be included, but no matter what, the foundation of parenting is teaching inclusion as one of the most important things.
Yes. And don't
And
be afraid to talk about it as a parent. I've even seen parents come into the classroom of an inclusive classroom with a child who has a barrier, and the social skills are lacking because of their barrier, not because of their intelligence or certain things like that. But they come in and they say, this is my child, this is what's going on with them. My child wants to have friends and play with you, but this is what they might need from you.
that's awesome.
Then allow the children to ask questions, and what can I do to help? Or do they like certain foods? Kids will come up with very basic questions, but just learning how to interact with a child that might have a, a difference helps them to be better people, and it helps them all to grow and have an amazing inclusive environment.
That seems
So
so basic, but it's so powerful. Like just thinking about a parent doing that and how much that can impact the entire classroom is huge.
oh yeah,
That's a
it
really
is.
good point.
It's
Well,
really true.
thank you so much. This is our last episode of this. And if anybody didn't see our last one, if you need more resources, you can go to the pbis.org, and I don't have the other one written down. I deleted it on
That's
accident.
okay.
Um,
That's okay.
but just, I think all the stuff that you've talked about is really helpful for parents, and I think it gives them a really great start on finding resources and help. So, thank
I
you
sure hope so.
again. I love you.
Love you too. And thanks for letting me
No.
share. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for letting me share. It's a very difficult job, but it's an amazing job as well, to
it
make a
sounds like it
difference in a child's life. So
for
I love
sure.
it.
And you're great
Absolutely.
at it. So, thank you,
Thanks, honey.
Mom. We'll see you later,
Okay.
and have a good night.
All right. Thank you so much for letting me be on.
All
It's been an
right.
honor.
Bye, Mom.
Bye bye.